everybody and welcome to my channel. So I'm Sarah and today I'm going to be diving into an acrylic painting, and I'm very excited about this one because it is a very cute and chaotic piece. So without further ado, let's get started. So the acrylic paints I'm using today are my Devian Matisse structure paints. I really love these acrylic paints because they're just so vibrant and they work pretty well. And I'm just starting off on this small canvas here, and I'm just covering the whole piece in a bunch of yellows and oranges just because I want to get a sort of almost fiery base for this artwork. And that's because I wanted to capture like chaotic energy for the subject matter, which actually I'm going to say now is a kitten. So I had this idea to do a series of paintings of kittens with flowers or cats with flowers, and for this piece I wanted it to be super chaotic. So I wanted to do like a sort of like a dark grayish kind of kitten playing in flowers and just making a big mess and petals going everywhere, and just try and capture the chaotic energy of a cat. So it actually took quite a few layers here. As you can see, it's actually pretty not chaotic because I've just started on the first layer of flowers, but I'm going to be building that up a lot. And yeah, so I'm just starting out with some little flower shapes here, and I'm just keeping it kind of loose because it's going to be pretty detailed later. So I'm just doing like little pinks and peaches and whites, but I actually mixed a very small amount of orange into the white so that it would fit in the color palette, because with the color palette of this piece I really wanted it to be really warm and bright but not too rainbow, if that makes sense. So the greens, I actually made sure that they were a bit subdued and dark, and then the whites had like oranges and like sort of like peachy tones mixed in there a little bit. And all of the colors are pretty much just like pinks and peaches. And with the cat, I'm actually going to be painting him grey first, but then adding on other colors over the top to make him really colorful. So we've got quite a few layers here now of flowers, but I'm not done yet. I'm adding in the cat here. And of course, with the first layer of grey, I added a little bit of orange in there so that it was a bit of a warm grey. It wasn't like super like you know, grey. There was a bit of color in there, make it a bit more natural. And yeah, I just sort of played around with the shapes, and I'm just keeping it loose at the moment because I'm going to be building layers and details over the top. I just want a rough outline of a cat sort of jumping up on its hind legs and reaching up high as if it was trying to grab a petal that was, you know, flying off of a flower or something like that. So for the shadows, I'm actually adding in a little bit more of a bluey tone, and then the highlights, I'm just adding a little bit of brown in there just to add a bit of warmth, just to give the cat a bit more dimension, if that makes sense. And I've just added in layers and layers of highlights, and I've just slowly just chipped away at this cat until it looked a little bit more like realistic. Of course, I'm not keeping it super realistic. It's definitely a painterly style, but I still want it to have sort of realistic proportions and shadows, if that makes sense. So now that I've gotten more finer details, I'm actually going to go in now and start with details on the face. I've added in a little snout here and the nose, and I'm just starting to add in some shadows and highlights that hint towards the eyes and just overall like the ear shapes. And I'm starting to refine the paws a little bit. Now, I'm not being too picky with all of the details, honestly, because at the end, a lot of the cat is going to be covered up with layers of petals and flowers. I just wanted a nice base to start off with and then build on top of that. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'm starting to add some color here, and I've just mixed a bit of paint with some transparent blending medium so that I can do sort of glazing layers over the top and change the colors of the cat without necessarily changing the like shadows and highlights. This is a really fun technique because you can just sort of, once you've got those shadows and highlights down, you can just have a bit of fun and just like add in random colors and just see what works. So I've added in a bit of blue, a bit of purple, a bit of red, a bit of yellow, a bit of green. Honestly, a lot of colors, almost rainbow, except I've kept them very subtle, and I've just sort of like blended them together to make it look more natural and not super rainbow. And after this, I decided I wanted to bring back a few highlights, so I added in some white there, and then after that I added a bit more layers of like a very soft yellowy color over the top of that. And then after that, when I was a bit happy with the cat, I decided to go in with some of the finer details like the eyes and the paw pads, and just some subtle details like the nose and parts of the cat's muzzle. After this, I was pretty happy with the cat, and I decided let's go crazy with the flowers now. So I'm just having a lot of fun here, slapping down petals, being very sort of loose with it, and using different colors mixed together on the paintbrush to get some nice little blends on some of those petals. And then after that, I added in some stems for the flowers so that it looks like the cat is in a little garden or a field of flowers. The flowers aren't just floating there. And yeah, now I'm just adding in a bunch of petals, and I'm trying to not put them everywhere. I'm trying to be a little bit like purposeful with where I put them. So you can see that there is a sort of diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right where there is more petals concentrated. And of course, I'm trying to make sure that I don't cover up the cat's face or anything like that. And yeah. Now I'm just adding in some final details like some whiskers for the cat. And honestly, this painting was really fun to do. I had a lot of fun and I really like the final results, and I hope you like the final results too. I think that this just turned out super cute, and I can't wait to do more artworks in this series because I want to do a few different cats with a few different colors. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more creative content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Scribble Fix for your art fix, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.